Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? I'm giving you guys a chance to come into the conversation. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I want to say hello. And give me a second here. Let me mute myself. Okay, I'm here with my friend Michi X, and we were actually talking earlier about some of this stuff going on with Cardi B, the rapper, and just some really interesting things that have sort of popped up in media lately. But before we get started, before we get into this conversation, I want to ask you guys. If, first, I want to ask Michi how she's doing. I'm sorry, Michi. I saw something here that made me laugh. But go ahead.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited to be here and to have this conversation. I definitely have some stuff I want to say.
Yeah. This needs to be had. This needs to be had. The reason I started laughing is because somebody said, "Where is Dr. Twatkins at?" Watkns. That's a nickname some of the haters gave me. They call me Dr. Moist Twatkins, right? So I thought that was kind of funny. So apparently the haters are on full alert and ready in the building. Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys showed up on time too. I did not know that I want to apologize to everybody on Your Black World. I didn't know that the title was going to pop up until I actually went live. But we were actually talking. Michi and I were having a conversation, and so we got off to a little bit of a late start. But we're about to jump into this discussion. It's going to be a good one. So Michi, first I want to ask you this: have you heard what's going on with this whole thing with Cardi B and her confession that she used to drug men so she could rob them? Did you hear about that?
I did. I saw the video with her crying and talking about all of this crime she was committing to make it, and how dare y'all talk about her like she ain't crime her way to the top. And then I saw another video this morning where she's actually admitting to some even more things that are very violating of someone in a sexual manner at this time. I guess apparently she thinks that there's more than one way to get back at a man, and you can, if you're mad at him, you can take him and pop some Molly or some Percocets, and you can get drunk and tell him let's have a threesome, and then you call a tranny over, and then in the morning you tell him, ha ha, that's why you slept with a tranny. That's so violating. So she just keep adding on top of adding. And I know this is an old video. It'll be interesting for them to come back with all the other ignorant stuff she done said, right? So
interesting. Okay, so as we jump into the conversation, everybody, please hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, stuff like that. I want to welcome everybody to drboycetv.com, the home of intelligent Black people. So we're talking about Cardi B and this confession that she made about ways she used to set up men, ways she would violate men in different ways, stuff like that. Now, basically, Michi, I've been watching this, and I want to get into that thing about the trannies and all that stuff. I think that's kind of interesting. But let me ask you this: in terms of the online reaction, like, how do you feel that people are reacting? Like, do you feel that most people think that it's not a big deal? Do you feel that a lot of people feel like, this is maybe in that Bill Cosby space, or that Cardi, that there's maybe a double standard, that because she's a woman, she's not getting the same treatment she would get if she were a man that confessed to drugging women so he could get whatever he wanted. Like, what do you think the reaction has been? What have you seen?
I've kind of seen a little bit of both. I see that there are some people who are pretty upset about what she's done. I do see more women actually defending it. I've seen some comments that she made and other people co-signing on the comment of that in rap people songs, rappers talk about their lives and they get to be real and be gangster and all of this. And nobody ever says that about a man. And she actually Cardi B herself quoted a Rick Ross song where he says he popped some Molly in her champagne. She didn't even know it. He took her home, had her way with her, and she didn't even know it, right? So these are some of the excuses I hear. There, of course, the ones that I do hear that are not appalled, which they should be at what she's saying. They're actually saying, well, men do this all the time. And so it seems like to me, they're trying to ask for equality for her in the sense of, well, rappers can say this, they get away with saying this stuff all the time. And, I'm a woman, I should be able to, but those are lyrics. They ain't admitting.
But remember, let me jump in. I'm going to say this real quick, and I want you to keep going. Rick Ross did not get away with that shit. They canceled it. They killed his Reebok deal. Remember that?
Right.
Rick Ross, they gave him shit about that. He wasn't able to just put that lyric in a song and walk away like everything's okay.
But let's be real. Let's be real, Dr. Watkins. Let's be real about rappers, though. This is why I feel for someone who's in the industry. She's whacked to make that comment because she knows she's lying herself, and the public is buying it for the ones who want to cape for this situation for her. But how many rappers do you really know that live that life, or is that a studio life? Let's be honest. They're not out there selling drugs and killing people and murdering folks and committing all these crimes. Like when they do that, they go to jail. T.I. ring a bell, right? Tekashi 69, when they're really committing crimes, guess what? They go to jail. It is much different to write a song because we know that these words and the way that we, approached, especially the Black community in hip hop and rap, they always want to project violence and sex, but it definitely is a projection of that. You don't see these rappers getting online and laughing and admitting to crimes in real life. They faking that life for you, and then everybody trying to be like the rappers when they really not like that anyway. So I'm not buying that for that reason. It's one thing to say something because it's a lyric and it's offensive, and it's another thing to commit an actual crime and admit to doing that. So to me, the two don't equate to the same thing. So Cardi B and anybody using that as an excuse can miss me with that.
Well, I'll say this. When I heard about Cardi B's confession of her, drugging men so she could rob them, and then when you told me about the second video about, using drugs as a way to kind of drugs and sex to lure men in, so that she can set them up with trannies or whatever, it made me think about a story I heard back. Anybody remember when Lawrence Taylor, the NFL player, got caught up in a situation with a young girl? Anybody remember that? Where basically Gloria Allred was on TV with a young 16-year-old girl, basically trying to get money out of Lawrence Taylor because he slept with this hooker that was underage, and they were making a big deal about it in media, which it was a big deal. It's not appropriate, not acceptable at all, not cool. Lawrence deserves a lot of accountability for what happened here. Now, here's the other side of that equation that nobody talks about. This is the part that nobody discussed in the media. Back at that time, I was working at AOL Black Voices, and I had a source, a lady that reached out to me and that was very credible, who basically said this was all the fucking setup. She said, I know that girl and I know who she rolls with. There's 3 of them. They're 15, 16, and 19. And what they do is they look for men who are athletes or rappers or ballers who like easy women, who like sex, and they would lure them in with the sex. And so she said some of the men would ask, are you 18? I can't sleep with no underage girl. And they all had fake IDs. So they'd all be like, oh yeah, I'm 18. Here's my ID, right? A fake ID, anybody can get that shit. It's easy to do, right? And so then what would happen is the oldest girl would lure the men back to the hotel, right? So this ain't like no simple, Cardi wasn't the only one. There's thousands of people out here like this, right? So the oldest one would lure them back to the hotel. And when the dude's there, he's like ready to have sex and all that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with somebody who wants to fuck. Let's just be seriously. Tell me.
Well, let's say this, right? We want to give feminists and all these women equality. Shouldn't they say that women should be persecuted and that they should be able to be sex workers legally? So if you could be a sex worker as a woman and be considered equality, then who hell you think paying for the sex? So we shouldn't condemn men for paying for it since women think they ought to be able to sell it. I'm just saying. Exactly.
If you are, I'm saying, and I want everybody, I hope you guys agree with me. Tell me if you agree with it, if you understand this. Like we live in this world where we act like a man who wants to have sex is a bad person. Well, guess what? That's how human beings reproduce. That's how rabbits reproduce in the woods. That's how fucking bears reproduce. It's like sex, fucking is happening everywhere. There are millions of species that are having sex right now. Right. So we're the only ones who act like that's a bad thing. Like, you're a criminal, you're a predator because you're going to have sex with a girl. Like, oh my God. Right. I guess maybe they feel better if he was going to go fuck another man, because they don't talk about that shit. They don't talk about all the shit that's happening in the gay community, all the pedophilia, all the rape, all the horrible things happen. They ain't talking about Ed Buck. They're talking about heterosexual males. Right. For some reason, somebody decided that heterosexual males were the enemy, and it is what it is. So basically the way the setup went was the guy would come back with the girls, thinking that he's going to get, have the time of his life. And they would give him a drink, and the drink would, of course, have a drug in it. He takes the drink. He's knocked out. Boom. Then what they do is they take the 15-year-old, put her in the bed with the man, take pictures, right? And then when the man wakes up, they would just blackmail him. They'd be like, we know you play for the Dallas Cowboys. So if you don't give us X amount of dollars, we're going to send these pictures to your team. We're going to send these pictures to the media, and we're going to send these pictures to your wife. And the guys would pay up. And basically what she was saying, what this person with this secret source was saying that I was talking to, was she said that Lawrence Taylor would just said, fuck you, I'm not paying you, you know, because y'all set me up, right? So my point is to say that, you know, men, first of all, it's two things. One, we're not talking about the other side of the narrative. We act like predators are only men, that women, they like, if you listen to the feminists, they act like there's never been a female predator in the history of this world. And that's just not true. We, you know, like you always say, they don't rape they don't rape you sexually, they rape your pockets, right? That's what the predator, that's what a female predator, she'll rape your pockets. Number two, it tells me that, you know, when I talk to brothers, I tell them, like, you got to be careful. You know, like you might think that you're safe. You might think that it's okay to be vulnerable to this woman that you just met. But when you can be lured in with sex and drugs and all of that, then there are people out there that are going to take advantage of you for that. What are your thoughts, Misha?
I think that we don't look at both sides. I agree with you completely, you know, but even in talking about the Cardi B thing, as well as raping men's pockets, I was telling people on the video I did about it yesterday that I remember being 12 and 13, and there was girls who did that stuff all the time. So what she's doing is not something that's new. I guess the question that we have to ask is it okay, right? We allow women, I want to say, even as a woman, to get away with things and be like, but I'm a woman. And when you talk about rape in the pockets, I don't want us to forget the example of what I just talked about, the new video she just made, because she obviously has violated men sexually too. And you take a straight man, you get him drunk, you tell him to get revenge on him that you're going to have a threesome. You call one of these trannies over. In this day and age, some of us can't tell, even the women can't tell. These trannies be looking better than some of us, let's be honest, right? And then you wake up the next morning and you've been told that in this threesome, you were having sex with a man, really, right? That is a violation of a man's sexuality. How would a straight man feel about that? Like, if that was my son, I would want to find that chick. It would be problems. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't understand why we think it's okay to violate men in that way, or that men are not even allowed to claim sexual violation or being violated any kind of way. When I heard that video, I was actually more upset about the video I saw this morning than what she said the other day. I mean, yeah, I'm upset that you want to drug people and you want to take their money out their pockets and cry. See, I didn't understand that. That's that feminist shit, right? Like, she up here being strong. I had to fight for everything I had. I robbed all kind of brothers, but you crying, but you telling us how you taking advantage of other people. So somehow you want to be this strong woman, but at the same time, you're this, I'm a crying girl. I just don't buy it. And I think that we've allowed this to happen for far too long. And see, being a woman, I do get a lot of women who are like, well, why are you taking up for the brothers and not the women? Because I have sons. And I'm sure there's a lot of women out there that can understand what I'm saying. When I look at the things that Cardi B said, or I know that women do these things to men and we don't want to talk about them, I want to talk about them as a woman. One, because if women are going to ever change their, oh, here go a word y'all might not like, their toxic femininity, right? If we're not going to ever, how is that going to change? It ain't about the brothers. See, if that's our issue, then that means that as women, we need to check ourselves and we need to check one another, right? So we need to talk about that as well, because I do care about what happens to my sons. And I do care about how women treat my sons. And I don't want you to be able to cry and say, I'm a girl, so I should be able to do whatever I want. That's some bullshit to me. So yeah, I think that definitely, you know, with women and feminists wanting equality this day and age, I think this is a perfect time to give them that. I think that we should make an example of Cardi B. I think that we should get some brothers to come forward. You guys, as I said on the little video I made earlier on Facebook, I'm gonna need a brother to come forward. And you could even be lying. And ain't even gotta be the truth. And tell them that she drugged you and she rubbed your nipple while you was drunk and you want $3.4 million. We're gonna call it the Bill Cosby, and you still want her to go to jail. I'm just saying, women, equality. Let's get, here go your equality. Go your ass to jail. Put her in the cell right next to Bill. That's what I say.
So any men out here who were drugged by Cardi B, and she rubbed your nipple or had a tranny rub your nipple while you were drugged, right? Then you get to claim white woman privilege. And it's what they call that, what's that movie where for one day you get to go kill everybody? You know what I'm talking about?
The Purge.
Was it?
The Purge.
The Purge. Yeah, we're gonna do the Purge. We're gonna do a one-day purge where every day, for one day, everybody gets to be a white woman. So you can come forward and say, Cardi B drugged me and touched my nipple. I deserve $3.5 million. And I'ma still press charges.
That's right.
I still.
You can even be lying, just rob her pockets, because according to her, that's how you make it in life. So I'm just saying.
Well, you know, hey, that it is what it is, and it's all in the music. We know that. By the way, I'm talking to Michi X, and we are talking about Cardi B and her confession that she used to drug men and rob them or drug them and set them up with trannies, which is an interesting sexual violation. And do me a favor, if you're on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the share button, subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, please share this video around so more people can come to the conversation. This is the platform for intelligent Black people. So if you're intelligent and Black, you are in the right place. We want to push forward with intelligent Black media here at Dr. Boyce TV. So I want to ask you this question. So let me ask you this, Michi. If you know, what is there, you know, when I think about the way the Me Too movement kind of shaped out, and I agreed, I actually supported the Me Too movement in the beginning when Tarana Burke was saying we need to protect our young Black girls from the R. Kellys of the world. I agree with that because, you know, I've always had an issue with it. I never understood why R. Kelly was able to walk around as a free man when he was caught on videotape doing what he did back in 2003. I never understood why R. Kelly was selling millions of records and why these records were being bought by women, you know, by Black women. Like it was an insult to me that he was even able to continue and have his career after, you know, all these things that are easily proven in, you know, in the court of law. He got a Jussie Smollett, you know, 15 years before the Jussie Smollett case, you know, and so, you know, I supported the Me Too movement when that was the goal. Now, it seemed like over time, though, the Me Too movement became like this big, broad thing where any man who made any woman uncomfortable at any point is going to be taken down. And also any woman with any background, with, you know, of any kind of character, any kind of liar, any kind of deviant, any kind of predatory woman, money hungry, dirty, sleazy, drug addicted, nasty ass woman off the street could come in and make an accusation, and we're supposed to act like it's true. You know, like like with the Bill Cosby thing, they were looking at, I mean, like the people that were really keeping it for real, were looking at some of the women that were accusing Bill Cosby, and they were like, really? Like, y'all really dragging people in off the street and with no proof. It's like, you know, get out of jail free cards for these people, you know, or get like free money just being handed out. All you got to do is come in and tell a lie. Let me ask you this. It really made me feel some kind of way as a man, because I was thinking, I said, okay, so what they've effectively tried to do is they tried to criminalize male sexuality. If you are a heterosexual male, they've criminalized male sexuality. Like, so that means if you are a man who is the manager at a fucking, you know, Best Buy or Burger King, and one of your employees wants to invite you to come sleep with her, and you sleep with her, then you are a predator because you're the manager and she's the employee. And because of the power imbalance, you basically might as well have raped her. That's the narrative they were trying to feed people, right? And so I was trying to figure out, Michi, and this is my question, and I want you to kind of just run with it in whatever direction you want to go. But I was like, this is all stacked up against the men. Like, the Me Too movement has not taken down any women, right? It's not taking down any gay people. Kevin Spacey, kind of, but not really. But no gay. So it's like women are protected, gay people are protected, but heterosexual men are just being taken down. And I was trying to figure out, what is it that a woman could do, like a public high-profile woman could do that would get her the same kind of punishment and penalty that you've seen happen to maybe like a Bill Cosby, where not only is he put in jail at 80-something years old, but they were erased this motherfucker from the planet. Like, they've taken the Cosby Show and damn near banned all of his shit. They're trying to mute Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Like what is it that women, is there anything out there that a woman could do, or a crime that's regularly committed by I'm talking about something that where hundreds or even thousands of women have done these things, right? Where a lot of women could just be taken down just like that. Like, can you even think of anything? Because women don't go around raping people. Like what is it that women can do?
Well, let's first of all understand that rape does not mean you pull somebody out of a dark alley or be on them over their bed when they wake up with a weapon to their neck and brutally assault them. That's not just what rape is. Women do rape. So I want to take that and correct that. Yes, they do. I don't think, in the society we live in, I don't think that there's anything that a woman could really do as far as the things you see these men being, persecuted for in the media, going to jail, losing everything, because society doesn't do that to women. We can look at time and time again, women get away with these things. If you look at statistics, you will find that women teachers and this happens a lot in the schools. If y'all don't know, go look up the cases. Female teachers actually have been found to have sexual relationships with their students more than male teachers have ever been found to do so. So you be sending your kid to school and here come the woman teacher and she's having sex. And we have all kind of scenarios of these stories. Do you guys remember the white teacher and she was with the little Filipino boy and she had a baby, got pregnant by him. The court just said, stay away from him, and slapped her on the hand. And then she got caught with him again in the car. So then they sent her to jail. Then she got out. He turned 18 and they stayed together. Now, do you think a man could do that in this society and somebody said that was okay? They would say that she stayed with him because she was brainwashed. But this boy is a man and he know what he wants. So see, these things happen all the time. And I think that we don't talk enough about the fact that women also do what Cardi B said she did. I mean, this is the thing, is that people think that she's joking, but the sadder truth is that she's not the only woman that does this. This is a thing in the hood. Women been raping men in pockets since a long time. When I was growing up, men told other boys and young boys, like, look, watch your drink. Like, you think that's something you just tell a girl, because women will rape you and wake up and all your stuff will be gone. Like, this has been going on for forever, but nobody wants to bring it to the forefront and talk about it until now. You know, Cardi B put her foot in her mouth. But women molest children. Do you know how many boys that I know, well, men that I know, that will tell you that they lost their virginity to a grown-ass woman who was their mama nasty ass, like 35-year-old friend, and they were like 15? That's not sexual assault. That's not statutory rape. It is, right? Or they were 14 and they lost their virginity to their 23-year-old babysitter that they mama, you know, have watching them. So I'm saying these stories happen, but you know what? Society tends to say, you're a man. How dare you cry about any sexual interaction? You should be glad you with a grown woman. You know, men are not allowed to say that these things happen to them and they feel violated in that way, you know? And so I don't know what we could do in society that society would give a damn or take note. But I think that all these things that I have described, that we act like only men do these things. Women do them too. And I honestly don't think society is going to make them pay the equal price. But if we want to talk about equality and feminism, let's start right there. Like, you want equal pay, you want equal, you know, rights to speak your mind, you want equal jail sentences in this motherfucker? I'm just saying, we don't want that equality, right? We want to cry and now we're a girl. Man, miss me with that. Miss me with that. I got sons and I'm going to just tell the truth even though I'm a woman. I'm not buying it.
Well, you know, I'm going to say this, you know, Meech, I will say maybe I'm old school with it. I remember being in high school and it would have been hard for me to have felt violated sexually by a grown woman, right? You know, the only way I would have felt violated is in the example you gave with Cardi B, you know, when you set a guy up with a tranny, you know, where a man done got into the sex and done did what he's going to do. And then he finds out that he was all into another man. Like, that's a violation. At that point, you need therapy, right? At that point, your head is all fucked up. But, you know, I will say for sure that one of the things about, you know, the movement toward complete equality and sameness. I don't even think equality and sameness are the same, right? Like, you know, men and women being equal, I think that there are many communities where that's already true. Like, I think in the Black community, most men I know don't see women as beneath them. You know, I think that we see each other as different from one another, right? So I think that what white folks are aiming for is not really equality. They're aiming for sameness. They want everybody to be this androgynous shit where we don't know the difference between a boy and a girl and gender is a figment of your imagination. And
they're trying to get rid of masculinity. That's why they're going after heterosexual men.
Right, that is just not true, right? So, you know, I would say based on my experience, you know, as a young man, you know, when I was 16 and I worked at Wendy's and there was this 27-year-old woman there and she wouldn't have had to rape me. and if I got what I wanted and you called it rape, I would have got mad at you because that's not true. I would have gone through the rest of my life happy that I had that experience. You know, and that to me is one example of how, you know, being a man is different from being a woman. And I'm willing to give women that. I'm willing to give women, you know, this idea that, and accept this idea that, you know, a woman can be traumatized from things that may or may not traumatize a man. You know, for a man, you know, whether you're traumatized by a sexual experience might come down to whether she was ugly or not. You know, like you know, for a lot of guys I know, you know, like that's all they care about. Like being raped by an ugly woman or by another guy, well, that's traumatic. But if it's a beautiful woman, she doesn't have to rape you. All she has to do is say, "Come on over," and it's gonna happen, right? So I think that we can have space for that. But what I think is also true is that, you can't sort of have this world where we're just sort of making men feel like anything we say is going to be defined as toxic. Anything we do is going to be defined as harassment or predatory or whatever. Anytime we approach a woman at work and say, hey, I think you're beautiful. I love that dress on you. like, does that mean I'm going to lose everything I work for because you're going to now reshape the conversation and make it into something that it wasn't? I'll tell you, years ago, I was when I was single, I was perfectly single, didn't even have a girlfriend. So I would, really, really single, trying to be a good man, trying to do what I'm supposed to do. And I made a little move on a girl that I really thought that she liked me. I really thought she liked me. And she didn't. And it was like a swing and a miss. You know what I'm talking about? Like you hit on her and it didn't work. And then 2 or 3 years later, she told the story to somebody in a way that was completely inconsistent from reality. And because I was a more powerful person, it almost sounded like I pushed myself on her when I clearly did not. And the minute I knew that this woman wasn't interested, I backed away. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But when you do that to men, you're traumatizing them, because at that point, that makes men feel like I don't want to be a victim of predatory women. So I ain't saying shit to you. Like I don't want, like if I work with you and you could be the finest thing in the world, I ain't got nothing to say to you.
And that affects women. That makes us sad.
Yeah, right.
People don't mind men acting like men, right? Let me say that from the perspective of somebody that does not want children to be born with an X under their sex. Like, was you born with a vagina? Was you born with a penis? We need to know. I think those things are important, right? Everybody can't just be whatever they want, all of these blurring gender roles. So let me tell you somebody who doesn't agree with that. I want men to be men. I think that if I go outside and I have on a shirt and some of my cleavage is showing, or maybe it's fitting, right? Let's be real, women. We do that because we think we look good that way. And when you get attention or somebody pays you a compliment, I don't think that we should be mad at men for that. And let me tell you something. Aside from you being like, hey, you're pretty bitch and calling me out my name, I'm just saying, you could say, hey, girl, you look good. You could whistle. All of those are compliments. Any woman who gets offended by that, like you brainwashed by this society. I don't think there's anything with men approaching women, telling them they're beautiful. You got your cleavage out and he looking at it. Don't look at him, button your shit up. That's the attention you were actually asking for, but nobody wants to be honest about that, right? Just like you go on Facebook and you see all these girls' booty pictures first and you see cleavage, and then a brother going in inbox, what I look like a hoe to you? Well, I don't know.
Well, you wear the hoe's uniform, so you look like you're playing for Team Ho. But go ahead.
Right. So I want men to be men. I want y'all to be able to give women compliments and tell women they look beautiful. And, hey, they look sexy. They be walking around looking that way. So I'm saying Victoria's Secret make a lot of sales. A lot of women trying to look sexy. Stop playing with me. That's why they make all that money every year. So I just think that we have taken it to the extreme, and it's very hard for a man to be a man. And that makes me sad, because I don't want to be equal to men. There are things that men should do and be in a position that I don't want to be in, because I'm a girl, but you don't hear me out here screaming, I want to be the man, right? And so I don't want to be equal to that sense with men. And I want men to be able to be men, and I want them to be masculine. And I don't think all masculinity is toxic. It's like, no matter what you do, if you're a man, your beard's too big, that's some toxic shit. Like you walking around here with your muscles too big on, don't walk so cocky. Like, let men be men and leave them the hell alone. And for those of us that appreciate men being men, we want y'all to leave men the hell alone, right? I will say this though. I wanted to bring up something as far as somebody said in the comment, because you were saying that you don't think men can feel violated in that way. But I will say to you, like a guy in the comments said when he was 13, his 25-year-old sister friend came in and raped him. Now you see the wording he used. So I think it depends on the age. I think it depends on how it happens and when it happens. And let me tell you something. If a boy from a psychological point of view goes to school and he's 14 or 15 and he starts having a sexual relationship with his teacher, there are more devastating things that he might realize. He might think he's grown. He might feel like the man. man, he ain't feeling traumatized, but his experience and education has been stunted. The way that he looks at sex has been stunted, and he has already been on this journey and being told that sex is the thing you chase. Like when they're going through that hormones, I think the last thing for a young boy to do is to be having sex with a grown, experienced ass woman. He should be experiencing sex with a girl his age, and they're learning together, because what that does is it creates their first sexual experiences, so it can distort what they think sex should be like, because they're not getting it in an appropriate way at the age that they are. So even though men don't think it has those effects on them, it can. And it also depends on how young that person is, because when I say these teenagers, let me not make people misunderstand this. When I said 15, 14, homie said he was 13. There are 12-year-old boys. Like I have a son that's 12. He's not ready for sex. And I don't care how much society tells him, oh, he's a boy. If some grown woman is up on my 12-year-old son, that's something that I feel like is very wrong, and it would change the trajectory of how my son is thinking. When you get into sex and hormones is rolling, have you ever heard a parent say, a teenager, you know, when they start having sex because they start smelling themselves, you start acting different? Like when you venture into that world of sexuality, it is something that changes within you. Like when you go into your first experience of being in love, and if that is distorted in a way that it should not be, we don't understand the effects it has, but it does have effects, right? So I'm going to stick with that, looking at my sons. Like, I don't want my sons to have sex till they ready. And when they is having sex, I want them to be having sex with girls that are their ages. They're experiencing this together on the level that they should. So it is a more natural experience in sex, because it will dictate to them the rest of their lives how they see sex, how they have sex, and what sex means to them, okay? And so that's why I give that perspective. You know, but I also want to ask you this, and ask you this question. Now we talk about women, and they're all, you know, we understand women out here doing these things. You like, you know, men like sex, men this and that. We know women do these things, right? Now men are talking about it. So this is my question, because we are quick to tell a woman, if you don't want to be treated like a hoe, don't act like a hoe, right? We're quick to tell a woman, do not go to a man's room at 2 o'clock in the morning with some G-string drawers on, talking about, well, I didn't know he wanted to have sex. How dare he? I thought we was gonna play Uno and shit, right? Othello. You don't get to, women don't get to do that. So I say to the men, where do you value yourself to say, I don't know this woman, I just met her at the club and I'm not taking her to my house just because it's a sexual moment. I'm not going to be vulnerable and let this chick make my drink, because I know better than that, because women are not the only ones that should be giving that advice. If you didn't make your drink or watch them make it, don't drink it. If you leave it and didn't take it with you and you went to the bathroom, you can discard it when you come back. Men should learn to know those things too. If you guys are being put in positions, and you can see this now, where you're being played for your money, you're being put in situations where women are lying on you, and men know this. Are men teaching their sons how to avoid these obstacles and love themselves a little bit better, and stop seeing themselves as such sexual objects that they get themselves in this situation? You know, sometimes maybe you need to keep that thing between your legs for certain kind of women, and you need to stay away from other women, because it can cost you more than an unwanted baby. It can cost you more than an STD. It can cost you to be in prison over a lie. So where do men begin to say, now that we know this is happening, let me not act like somebody who want to be raped and robbed and played like Bill. If I don't want to be that, let me stop acting like that and putting myself in those positions. If women don't want to be treated like hoes, you can't walk around acting like a hoe. If you don't want to be caught up in this whirlwind of what's going on with men in this country right now, then men need to take responsibility and not put themselves in that position. So where do men begin to have that conversation, Dr.
I think that's a great point you made, and I want to answer that question. Hit the thumbs up button, everybody. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. But you are 100% correct on that. Your point, the question you just asked, which is a great question, you know, that I think needs to be discussed in our community, especially given that Black men are so vulnerable in so many areas. You know, it's just a great question, and that question reminded me of an article I wrote. And let me tell you what happened when this went down. I wrote an article about 2 or 3 years ago. You guys can probably still find it. And basically, in the article, I don't remember what the title was, but I basically told men, it was a warning to Black men. It was on a site called Ball Sports. It was for Black men, brothers on sports and society. And I wrote in the article, I think had a title like, beware of a wolf in freak's clothing, right? Right. And basically it was telling the brothers, like, you know, look, I know that hip hop music is telling you you're supposed to go out here and just fuck everything that moves. I know that media is telling you the black man's supposed to do this and do that, or if a girl's pretty, you're supposed to go hit it. You know, I know that you're constantly being told by your friends to trust every big button and smile that comes your way. But let me explain to you why you want to be thoughtful about that, why you don't want to go ruin your life over a piece of ass. And what I did was I broke down all the things, the bad things that can happen. I talked about child support and all these guys that got all these kids and they can't afford these kids and now their whole lives are ruined because they can't afford to take care of all these babies they made. I talked about STDs and how, look, if you have sex with hundreds of people, you know, bad things come out of that. Like you can't just go and just not respect your body when you going to the club and you fucking Cardi B's every weekend. You know, that's gonna catch up with you. Then next thing you know, you don't try to settle down and get a wife and all that. You can't have no wife when you're 35 and you got HIV, man. Seriously. Like really, like, do you really want the things that you love and value to be destroyed because of some chick that you just had sex with because you wanted to bust a nut? Like, really, is that, I mean, how intelligent and how thoughtful is that? That's not intelligent, right? And then I talked about this, and this is the part that caused so much controversy. This is where I got attacked. I also warned them, I said, do you know how many black men have been locked up on false accusations from white women or sometimes from black women? Like, do you know how easy it is for a black man to go to jail when he's just been accused of rape? And I told the story of a friend of mine from college. He wasn't even black. He was a white boy. And he had sex. He loved it. He loved to sleep around here. He got a whole lot more pussy than I did. I mean, the girls loved him. And he ended up sleeping with some girl who was crazy. It was later on proven she had a mental illness and she was a liar. But she goes to the police and says, he raped me. So you know what they did? And they did this to a white boy now. They went to his job and they took him out of his job in handcuffs. He got sent to jail. He was in jail for 3 weeks. He had to drop out of school. He had $3,000 in the bank. He had to give every penny of that money to pay lawyers and an investigator to find out like what he had to do to get out. And then after 3 weeks of him being in jail, nasty, you know, in a really, again, he's a college student, right? So it's for, you know, putting a college student in jail like is a shock to this system, right? So he's in jail for 3 weeks. Finally, after 3 weeks, they find out that this girl had falsely accused 5 other men in the last 2 years alone, right? And so you know what they did? They let him out. They said, "Oh, sorry, we made a mistake. Good luck with your life," right? So I told that story, and so basically my point was, you know, just at least, I mean, like, it's okay to have sex. Everybody does it. I don't think there's any shame in that. My thing is, you must just always calculate, how does this fit into my life? Because you let one wrong person in your life, they can destroy everything you've ever worked for. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote this article thinking that I was being helpful. You know, I thought the ladies, you know, I thought people would appreciate the fact that I'm telling brothers, like, you know, don't go around here just, you know, thinking that you're supposed to just go get it in with every girl you see, you know, or cheapening the value of sex. But do you know, I got attacked like you would not believe from black feminists who said I was being sexist because I'm accusing women of being liars. I said, I didn't say women were motherfucking liars. I said that there are some liars who happen to be women.
They do be lying though.
Right, if you think women can't lie, then what motherfucking planet do you live on when you think a woman cannot tell a lie just like a man? One minute you're telling me men and women are equal, the next minute you're telling me women don't lie. Well, that's a damn lie right there. So you're a lying ass woman, get that goddamn self. That's how mad I was. I was so angry. And then the kicker of it, I mean, this blew up. Like, this really, like, my assistant hit me up. She said, "What did you say online? Because it's trending and blah, blah, blah." So let me tell you what happened next. This is gonna trip you out. So a group of black male scholars, I'm using air quotes because these were not fucking scholars, but they claim to be scholars. One of them was a guy at Duke, a guy named Mark Anthony Neal. He was the leader of the pack. He's a scholar, but, you know, like, white people like him because he says all the shit white people want to hear. Like, he's literally, if you go to his Facebook page, I think he says, "I'm a feminist," or whatever. Again, I'm old school. If I told my daddy I was a feminist, he would laugh at me. Like, he would be like,
"This man that's feminist?"
Right.
Really?
Like some.
The hell wrong with y'all?
Right. So this guy, you know, at Duke and a bunch of scholars, like, write this open letter, right? Basically, I guess, trying to, like, admonish me in public. right? Now, most of these people work for white people, whatever. So again, they're brainwashed. Like R. Kelly's girlfriends, you know, they're brainwashed into this white liberal ideology. And you know me, half of the shit that I say is politically incorrect because I'm looking for the truth. I'm not looking to fit anybody's political agenda. So they write this letter and they start, and it wasn't like, you know, hey, brother, we just want to give you another point of view, blah, 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 blah. No, it was, your letter was sexist and callous and irresponsible and basically calling me like an asshole and so many just doing like in a scholarly, like uppity white people kind of way. And so I read this motherfucking letter and I'm like, you motherfucking bitch ass niggas. Like shit, like that literally was my thought. I'm sorry, I'm being real with y'all. I gotta just be honest. Like,
that's what you're supposed to write them back. And with a bunch of exclamation marks, signed Boyce Watkins, motherfucker. No.
Well, like on the Boondocks, remember Riley wrote the letter to Santa and it said, "Dear Santa, you are a bitch ass nigga." Like I literally wanted to start my response like that, but I didn't do that. I didn't get too ghetto with him. But I read. I would have. I gotta work on that. But some people have. I got to finish telling your story. So I read the letter very carefully, and here's the thing that popped out at me. The scholar side of my brain popped out, and I said, okay, you're supposed to be Black intellectuals. You're supposed to be scholars. And while I cannot understand this idea of Black men being self-proclaimed feminists, y'all ain't got shit to say about what's going on in the hood and with Black people in general, but you want to run up behind the white feminists, whatever. I know you do that because that's how you keep your job. But I was reading it and I said, you're making all these damning accusations against me and attacking me and calling me all kinds of names. But not at one point in your article, in your open letter, did you provide any quotations from my original article to support your point? Like you just literally, you say that I'm a liar and I'm this and this. Well, if you say I'm a liar, if you call me a liar in public, then give me a quote something that I said that proves that I lied so I can address that, right? I said you didn't provide any support or any references. You're basically parakeeting what white liberals say and attacking another Black man in the process. I said, now look, it's cool, I understand. Maybe you guys see me as the big gorilla on the block because I'm famous and I'm more successful than you. That's fine, but it doesn't have to be like that. Like I was like, look, if you reached out to me and wanted me to help you as a brother, like look, boys, I want you to put me on and get me out there, I would have done that for you. But instead, you're allowing white supremacy to get you all riled up to come and attack a Black man who's trying to do the right thing. So my basic response was a scholarly way of saying, fuck all of y'all. Like this is not good. But then I broke down and explained why this is nothing more than propaganda. Because when you start making accusations and attacking people and you provide no proof and you don't provide a link to the original article because you don't want people to read what I wrote, I gladly wanted people to read what I wrote. I said, show them my article, show them what you said, and let people make their own decision. But no, you want to make the accusation without providing any proof, without providing any quotes, without providing a link to the original article, without coming to talk to me. So basically, you are a propaganda machine who's engaged in the same white liberal social engineering that they want to engage in, that leaves Black men vulnerable and under attack, which has Black men going out here voting against our interests, supporting politicians who back the MeToo movement without knowing that the MeToo movement is one of the most dangerous threats to the freedom of a Black man in this society. The idea that somebody can make an accusation against you with no proof whatsoever and get you sent to prison for 20 years should scare the shit out of anybody who has a Black son, a Black father, a Black husband, a Black boyfriend, or is a Black male themselves. So anyway, so that's what happened. And so your point, I'm gonna answer your question. I gave a long response, so I'm gonna shut up and let you talk.
That's okay.
That's
how we do.
You talked about brothers warning brothers and talking to brothers. That's all I do. Like to be a Black man and survive in this society, you got to play chess. If you go out here playing checkers, they will chop your head off. Literally, Black men are trained to be like they want you to follow a system and a process that they designed for you in advance. So the white supremacists tell you, we want you to be a sheep, do what everybody else is doing, and we want you to get in line with the other sheep and walk in a straight line where all the sheep are walking off a cliff. And we got snipers up in the bushes that are shooting the sheep. And we need you in a straight line so we can snipe as many sheep as possible. Mm-hmm. I'm the sheep who says, We need to run off into the woods and get out of this fucking line. A black man must get off the grid if you want to survive in a white supremacist society. If you do exactly what they tell you to do, you're probably going to fall in one of the many traps they set for you from the time you're born. And that's one of them right there. The sexuality conversation amongst black men must be very different from anybody else, because every time black men, listen, when I say this, every time you lay down with any woman, even if you think it's a one night stand, you are putting your life at risk. And if you don't understand that, then we need to talk. I'm done talking. Go ahead. In other words, I agree with you.
Look, that's how we do though, Dr. Watkins. We just get it in. We got to say everything we got to say. But I want to say that I'm a bit baffled by these men. Let me speak to you men for a minute. You feminists, really? Especially brothers. You know, I see this a lot where I am because I'm in Colorado. And everybody here is like, woo, 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 let's just join hands together like Jordan Peele's movie and shit and just be across America. But but I see a lot of that here, right? And there's a lot of men, they go to these feminist things, they're marching in women's rights. I don't understand how men can do that, because if you understand the feminist movement, what they're going to tell you is that the feminist movement is about empowering women. It's not about bringing down men. But I will say you a lie. And the LGBT community, ATPSDDD, I don't know if I let out any acronyms, but y'all know what it is. They say that their agenda is just about them and it's not hurting other people, but that's a lie. If you dig deeper and you look, you will see that in women in this feminist movement saying we want equality means that, you know, I'm starting to think this. We understand as women that we can never be men, right? And of course we can't. Like I already know that, but a lot of these women out here obviously don't. And so it seems like to me, instead of women rising to the level of being men, they really are on this agenda underneath without saying it, this feminist movement to actually just, you know, emasculate the man, right? And have no masculinity. So therefore women can't be men. So we just gonna turn all the men into a bunch of bitches and they're gonna be on our team and we gonna run the world. So they're really not looking for equality. They're looking for men to actually come down off of where they are to come down to being more like a woman is what I really see happening, right? The LGBT community is helping to promote this. Not even in the letters of the other stuff, but that T for sure, right? If you notice, they don't ever show you transgenders that are, you know, that are women who want to be men. It's always the men who want to be women, right? They got this transgender princess coming. They play that role hard. That's why they got them X on them birth certificates. That's why they trying to wash away all these gender roles, right? Feminism says there should be no gender roles. I need people to read between the lines and see what they're saying is that we need all of our men to become women because women know that we cannot become men, right? And that is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. But this is what I see going on. It's not about them rising to another level. It's about bringing men out of the place that they are and making them be something completely different in our society. I don't want no society as a woman with a bunch of bitch ass men. Please, brothers, do not agree with this. Like, how do you walk with feminism if you really understand that in order for them to thrive, they got to kill your masculinity? So I'm going to need black men from a woman that wants to be a woman, right? I don't want to be no damn man. Y'all do y'all thing. I'm glad. I hope I come back in my next life as a woman too. I'm cool with being a woman. I like being a girl, right? So I want men to be men. I don't want our men to be emasculated. I don't want them to turn into girls. I don't want to get to a point where we don't have gender roles, you know. Well, there's no gender roles. You take out the damn trash. I'm not doing that today. No, I want him to take out the trash, right? I cook the dinner. I'm okay with some of those gender roles. I don't want to live in a society like that. And I just think it's sad that when you watch these brothers, I think some of them get I don't know what's the word. I don't know if it's they trying to get in good because they just, you know, think they're gonna get them some or something, but you don't want to get you none from none of these feminists, boy. They're gonna turn that shit around on you. Y'all better stay away from feminist coochie. I'm telling you right now, brothers, right? It'll get you in trouble because they want to castrate your dangy any dang way. But I don't understand why they ride so hard. Like, I get tired of people, even like when it comes to allies or the men, and they're like, well, they want rights, so let me hop on this bandwagon and show the women we care about them. I'm going to tell you personally, from a woman's perspective, I would love to see black men rise up and be able to talk about what about our fucking rights? Because people are going to tell you men got all the rights in the world, but no, they don't. And especially when we're talking about black men, and there are a lot of things that happen to black men that are unfair, that maybe y'all should be asking for some equality. Like, can we equally get off if we cry? Like, can we equally fuck up and not be held accountable? Can we equally just be like, rah, 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 and then when it's convenient, just become timid and y'all be okay with that? Like, Can y'all do that? If y'all can't, I need men to get up and speak against that. And I'm saying that from a perspective as a woman, because as Black women, we don't want our men to turn into women. Right. And there are some lost Black women who jump on that feminist, you know, bandwagon, but hopefully they'll wake up one day and they will get off. But I don't think there's anything wrong with men having these conversations. I think that your life and a whole lot of things are at risk these days. And I think some of these things have always been happening. But if we're going to talk about MeToo, if we're going to talk about feminists, if we're going to talk about equality, I think this is the perfect time to start talking about those things. And the fact that, you know, men don't necessarily get away with everything, but they do get fucking blamed for everything. So I'm just saying. Okay. So that would be my word to the men, coming from a woman that wants y'all to stay men. I need y'all to, you know, stop thinking with that thing between your legs and take a little more pride in who you are, right? That everybody don't deserve what's between your legs, right? You don't deserve to spill your seed in everybody, right? And be careful about the women that you're with, understanding the climate that you live in today, right? And I would ask you to fight for your masculinity. Stop letting this country just snatch that shit from you and turn you into girls. I want to be the only one wearing a skirt, I promise you.
Hey everybody, I'm talking to Michi X, and we are talking about a lot of things, but we started off the conversation talking about Cardi B and her admission that she was to drug and rob men. And so please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the share button, subscribe button. Also, if you want to support intelligent Black media, you can become a patron of the channel in exchange for free stuff we like to give our patrons. You can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. That helps us reach more people and to do more stuff and to pay more Black people to help us get the job done. And also, if you want to follow Michi, just look for Michi X, Mechee. 2 E's at the end, 1 E in the middle. Michi X, just look for her. She's on YouTube, she's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, and she's very talented, as you guys can tell, very, very intelligent. So Michi, I'm gonna let you get the last word on this before I let you get back to your busy day. I think that it seems to me, you know, when you talk about, you know, Cardi B, I know one lesson. If I'm a young Black man, I'm hearing all this, and she's talking about how the game is run and how people are, you know, how she was able to take advantage of people. One of the common themes I noticed is that she talked about the use of drugs, whether it's voluntary consumption of drugs or involuntary, right? You know, so to me, even when I was younger, I remember I would notice, I almost actually became a Q dog. I almost pledged that fraternity. And the thing that stopped me was because the particular Qs on my campus, I said, it seems like y'all just drunk and high all the time. And I remember saying to myself, I said, as a Black man, I don't think I'm safe if I'm drunk and high all the time. Like, it seems like if I'm drunk and high all the time, you know, I'm going to make bad decisions. I got a higher likelihood of getting locked up. I got a higher likelihood of just ending up in bad situations, you know, so, and not to mention the long-term effects. You know, I have friends that have died, you know, from alcohol consumption, stuff like that. You know, so to me, it seems like, you know, one of the things you can learn also is, you know, with Black men, you're at war. You know, you have to be a soldier in this war to protect yourself, protect your family, protect the people you love. And a soldier can't be high and drunk all the time. If a soldier's drunk all the time, he's not going to be able to fight. You know, and Cardi B, it was basically saying, like, if you just give them a bunch of drugs, give them some Molly, give them some perks, give them some liquor, like, you can do whatever you want to those people. So it kind of speaks to like this idea that if somebody gets you high, drunk, distracted, or whatever, or just unconscious, or whatever it is, they can then take whatever they want from you, right? So that's why you go back to the idea, what does it mean to be woke? Well, wokeness means that you're conscious. It means you're alert. It means you know what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean? You know who your friends and your enemies are, right? And so when we talk about wokeness in the Black community, we talk about what it means to be socially woke, politically woke, financially woke, all these forms of wokeness. We got to really embrace that, you know, because you can fight a war if you ain't woke and alert and aware. You'll get killed. You'll get killed. So if we got too many people that either are just unconscious on a standardized level, like unconscious just as a way of life, and you know, or maybe they go into situations where they become distracted, or they allow themselves to become unaware, you know, because they're sitting around getting high and drunk all the time. You know, like a man who's getting high and drunk at the club every weekend and sleeping with any woman that walks by, that's not going to be a successful man, in my opinion, because eventually some shit going to catch up with him. Eventually some shit's going to go wrong. And everything that you have is going to be, you're going to be a victim. So there's a point there, and I'll let you kind of get the last word on that. But I think that there's something to say about one, yeah, you can be a victim. Everybody can be victimized, but not all victims are created equally. Like some people set themselves up to be victims. I believe white supremacy, you go back, you look at Powernomics, where Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about what they did to black people 200 years ago. They designed the black man to be a victim. They designed the black woman to be a victim. They designed us to be unconscious, uncompetitive, unalert, unaware, to the point that they can easily come in and take us down. Like Malcolm X used to say, actually, and I'll end on this. He actually had a good quote where he said, the white man will sell you the liquor bottle, and then he'll be the one that locks you up for being drunk. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on that, Michi?
I think that's a very great analogy. I mean, to take it out on that point, that a lot of us are sitting around literally being drugged, right? That's why there's a liquor store on every corner. They know what they're doing in the way that they keep cycles and get black people to do exactly what they want them to do. That's why you find liquor stores on every corner, right? And you're right. We don't only stay in a state of being high and not conscious literally, but we also do that on a subconscious level, right? And we're being fed bullshit every day that we take that makes us feel good. That's why we don't look at the reality of what's happening until we wake up like shit, and like homie that got played by Cardi B. And then you realize that you've been raped, you've been robbed, right? You have been violated. And by the time you realize that, it's usually too late. And I think as black people in this country, we are living in that same state, right? We are put in a state of unconsciousness. We are being put literally in a state of using drugs and having liquor, because we know that even the word will tell you, for the church folks out there, that liquor is something that's left to the poor. Because the truth is that people who are stressed out, I know we think rich folks party all the time, but the truth is poor people and people who are in destitute and in poor situations, they drink liquor a lot more than anybody else. It's where you find all the alcoholics and stuff. And that is because we take things to, numb away our pain instead of dealing with the reality of where we are. So I think that it's time we get our asses out of them proverbial, Cardi B hotels and stop getting played and getting drugged and waking up in the morning with your freedom and who you are robbed and your identity. And I think that we need to begin to, take a look at that. Men need to stand up and speak for themselves. We need to start speaking for our communities, right? And we do need to realize that we are in a state of where they want us to be. We are very conditioned as a people, right? Very conditioned. They want us to drink and have ghettos. Ghettos are created. They want us to be conditioned in our mind. And, we drunk off the lies. When you watching TV all day long and they tell you who you should be, what you should be like, you just in this state of, being driven by what you've been conditioned to be, right? And it makes you very vulnerable to what's happening to us. And so I think that we need to actually, wake up from that in our surroundings and see what's really going on with us, right? Wake up and be like, oh shit, I done been robbed for my freedom. And now what I need y'all to do, like I need them brothers to do, is when you realize you've been robbed of your shit, you need to go and do something about it. So I'm waiting for you brothers to come forward and take all Cardi gets money. Y'all need to take her for her money. If she did this crime to you, and I know some people might think, I don't give a damn if she didn't do this crime to you, because we lie on men all the goddamn time. She admitted to it. She did it to some damn body. So y'all brothers, come on and get y'all money, right? Come and get y'all money and get your $3.4 million because she rubbed your nipple 10 years ago, right? On the playground in kindergarten. We need that money, bruh. We need it, and we still want her to go to jail. I'm going to say it again and end on this note. Feminists want equality. I think this is a great place to start. I think we should be equally. I'm waiting on them charges. I can't wait to have that video, but we know that shit probably ain't coming. Brothers, y'all do diligence. Y'all better get rid of this chick. She's a monster. She is a predator. We cannot have her in the community. Me too of this motherfucker.
Me too, motherfuckers. Men
that's what
too.
I want to see.
Men too. I think that's the hashtag people have been using. Men too. So right. I agree with you. Well, I'm gonna say I'm glad that there's black women out here that really care about us as black men and really have our backs. And I want to encourage the black men to always show respect to these women. Like, if you see other brothers just acting a fool or disrespecting black women, whether it's online or in person, stand up, say something, speak up, stop it. Do what you got to do. Because these are the women that we need, because we got a lot of people that want to see you locked up. They want to see you dead. They don't want to see you here. And I say Michi is one of the good ones. And that's why I appreciate you very much, Michi. I want to say thank you very much for hanging out with me today.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Watkins.
For sure. All right. So everybody, make sure you follow Michi X. You can just look up Michi X, Mechee, and look her up on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. Also, Michi, we didn't get a chance to mention this, but Michi is doing a tour, and David Banner and I have agreed to join her on tour. And it starts in Detroit. What's the date of the tour? And what's the website?
It's the Black Agenda on tour.com, and we kick off in Detroit. Don't quote me on this. I think it's May 17th to 18th. It's that weekend. There's a training Friday, and then the conference is that Saturday. But y'all go over and check out the site, and go get your tickets.
Yeah, so go check it out. So when I heard you were doing this, I was very excited to be a part of it. And so everybody, please support that. Also, if you want to support intelligent Black media, I want to say thank you very much, Goshen. I didn't get to thank you for that amazing donation. Thank you so much. And also, if you want to be a patron and support intelligent Black media, so we can bring you more good stuff in exchange for giving you things. Like we don't just ask for, we don't do donations. It's an investment in building Black media. Please go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Or you can also buy books for your family to educate your kids, educate yourself, like Powernomics. You can get my books, The New Black Power, stuff like that. Go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. And once again, thank you very much, Michi. It was real. And we will see you guys later. And talk to you soon. Peace.